Yeah, it looks like I'm live. Let me see if I have audio. Yeah, it looks like I'm live. Let me see if I have audio. Good Lord, that's the big Doug. Yeah, it looks like I'm live. That's the big Doug Beck's audio check there. Whew, that was I hope I didn't go out. Tony Wallow is first, followed by Craig Guy being second. He says, "Oh, second place." And William Dawson third. Rick Lake says hello. Right now, you're viewing the. I just paused Doug's screen to have something in the background while I get started, and I'm going to do that. As some of you know, um, that was discussed last night, I am going to run over to Pennsylvania tonight around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. It's about a 6 hour drive, depending on traffic and the route that I take. I'm going to get Joshy's computer that was working. He made some modifications to it, and it basically worked once. We don't know for how long, and now it won't even come on, or it doesn't work, basically, in his words. I'm awaiting an email back from him to verify my time I plan on getting there, and everything I'm going to need, which is basically just the computer, both processors, all the memory cards, the graphics card, and the power cord, to put for the graphics card. I do not have an extra one of those. I'll stop and get thermal paste if we get back to that point. And we plan on doing this live probably tomorrow night. I believe that is the plan as of right now. We'll leave here, 6 hour drive, get over there in the morning. We'll be back here tomorrow afternoon. Plenty of time for me to catch a little nap and then go live. I might go a little bit earlier if I do decide, or we decide, that we are going to do this live. Tonight's show is going to be super, super short, so I can get a quick nap in before I hit the road. Long Dog says good morning. Jeff Ryman says good morning. And Alice says good morning from Singapore, or good night from Singapore, depending on your perspective of what you consider midnight. So let's jump into this. Yesterday, Dennis, that's affiliated with Doug through Fortnite, had a question about frames per second, and basically Wintermute backed up what I said. Once you set it in your projects, it is set. You cannot unset it. But wait, there's a workaround. Full disclosure, I have not practiced. I have not done anything other than I know the workaround. I'm aware of the workaround. Let me put it that way. Thought about it last night, thought about it this morning, and decided now, why do that? Let's just jump right in there. Hey, there's a name I recognize from Doug Betts' channel. And in the can I do that? No, I need someone to put a comment in, because the silly heart's blocking the three dots. I'm going to make him a moderator. Sin Vicious joins us. Hello, Sin Vicious. So I'm going to go ahead and kill this. And I do have Zoom running. That's what I'm using. I'm in the lower right-hand corner, and I'm going to keep it in the background. So I'm going to put that back over there. And then you can't change this, so you're going to see that. I'm going to go ahead and open an untitled project right here. I do have the Sword Soft mousetrap working today. Going to come down here to the I don't want that one. I already have my project open. I want the settings right here. Click on that. Timeline is set to 24 frames per second. I'm going to change that to 30. And apparently 29.97 is the same as 30, because what little bit of the example that I watched, that's what he set it to, and said it's 30. I'll go to 30. I'll hit save. And then go into Fusion. And I don't know. I need to put something in there to verify it's actually 30 frames per second. Not that I doubt it, because I don't. I'm quite sure it is 30 frames per second. Let me do this real quick. Now you do see across the bottom of the screen, I did put in the keystroke I checked off the show keystroke, so when I type something, it does come across on the bottom of this monitor, because as I demonstrated before, you can set it to whatever monitor you want. And when it's DaVinci Resolve related, that's a good thing to have here. When it's not, it's a bad thing to have here, because then if someone were sending me a message and I were to pause it and go, you would see the answer. So not real good privacy there. So let's do something here. Let's just go bring in some media. I don't really want, let's get out of that. I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to go open up the master photos, and I'm going to poke fun at myself again. Everyone I poke fun of should poke fun of me. I'll just poke fun of myself. Yes, that is me goofing around, making Mrs. K happy one afternoon or one evening. I guess it would be the afternoon, because you can see the sun shining through the light here through the two windows we have. All right, so now let's go over here and look at something. So 30 frames per second, that's a 5-second clip, I believe. Somebody could do the math for me. Yeah, that is a 5-second. So let's change. I'm just out of curiosity, I'm going to do this. I'm going to cancel this. This is kind of really, I'm going to play around and probably really screw things up. You're getting a decent laptop, Tim. I think you're getting a refurbished laptop. I don't think you're getting a brand new laptop by any means. That's just my opinion. I think it's a far cry better than what you had. The question is, are you going to screw it up? That's the question. And only you can answer that. So I think once it gets there, you're going to like it. Have Doug look at it. I don't think, I think it'll be fine. So let's go in here and go back to Fusion. And we have, if we go to the end, we have 449, which is really odd. I was thinking that would be a different number myself, but if I go all the way to the end, which I'm at 450, 451, I guess you can continue going. I thought by going to the end here, so if we go here to 289 and hit the end, go to the end button, then it goes to 449. I'm going to hit actually the end button. Yeah, it's 449. I would have thought that would have been a different number, but I'm going to do an experiment here, and I'm going to change the clip from 5 seconds to 1 second. I'm going to change that. Then I'm going to jump back to Fusion. Oh yeah, there we go. 30 frames per second. 1 second clip. That identifies as 30 frames. If I hit this, that's going to jump to 29 and stay at 29 seconds. Oh my goodness. 30 seconds, everybody, at 29. It's just frames, so that's cool. So we verified this is actually set at 30 frames per second. Now, how do you work around this? You work around this by, now did that go back? It did not go back. Really? I'll go back over here. If I hit the home button, it goes back to the beginning there. That's crazy it doesn't do it in there. How do you do this? When you come up here to the timeline, I believe it is, or is it playback? Wait a minute. I got to stop and think. Like I said, didn't practice it. I seen what it was, and I'm like, that makes perfectly good sense. Now I got to remember, how do you add? All you do is you add a timeline, and then you, my goodness, somebody help me out in chat. Winter Mute. Where's Winter Mute when I need him? Davinci file, new project, create new timeline. Under file, right here, create new timeline. And you want to make sure you uncheck, it says use project settings. So if you don't uncheck use project settings, your new timeline is going to be 30 frames per second. Now, again, it's my understanding that you can change the frames per second once you do this. So I also see this empty timeline. I'm guessing that's going to get rid of this picture. So I'm going to check that, and I'm going to check that, and then let's just say I've got a big project, and we're just going to make this super big. We're going to make this 5 tracks, and I know I'm going to put 2 audio tracks in there. Oh, we're going to make that 25 tracks. It's going to be a big project. And then I want this one to be 4 stereo. I'm good with that. I'm going to click over here to format. Right here, and I'm going to highlight this for a moment. Right here, frames per second. We are going to use that box. Now I'm bringing over the little gizmo secondary menu. Oops. Oh well, so we'll get rid of all that. Now what I mean by secondary box, this is the main menu, the main, whatever you want to call it. I call it a menu for SwordSoft mouse track. And when you click on live draw, you get the secondary menu, what I call secondary menu, and it always pops up over there. I haven't explored to see if I can make it show up here, but that's that. And then when you draw on your project by making sure that's gray, or making sure it's on, I guess, then you can highlight what you're doing. And I'm a non-professional, so that's not a perfectly drawn box, and that's just the way it is. But that's what we're going to work with. When you hit the trash can, it goes away. I like it. I do plan on learning more of it. I'm going to glance at chat. Looks like the Long Dog is teaching school, so I'll let him do that. And I will look at chat later on today when I am not trying to figure this out. Now, why can't I? Oh, let's try that. There we go. So we're going to change this from 30 frames per second. We don't have anything in there, and we're going to go ahead and make it 60 frames. Oh, let's make it 90. Wow. Let's make it 60. And we're going to create. And there's our second timeline. And you'll see now, according to what I thought it would be, it does say it did bring over the, I thought I was clearing it. If I go up here to timeline number 1, that's this one, and it does have the photo in there. If we play that, it's just static picture. It's not going to do anything. If we go to timeline number 2, I believe you can do that either by clicking here or clicking here. No, you have to go up here to the arrow. Excuse me, I got to sneeze. Caught that one in time. Hopefully the audio is going back out. I think I turned the Yeti back on. So now we're on timeline number 2, and I'm perplexed because I know I thought I checked not to bring the data, but that's fine. Don't review this chat. That's a first. That is a first. So I'm going to close the media pool so that our viewer gets a little bit bigger. Can make the viewer a little bit bigger by grabbing this, and then that's just basic stuff. So purpose of this is, can you change the frames per second? Well, let's find out. Right now, this is a 15-second clip. In 15 seconds, because my standard clip is 15 seconds. If we come in here and change the clip duration, which I don't want to do, I want to go see how long this is over here, and I guess that makes sense. If we go there, I'm not going to do the math, but my guess is 15 frames or 60 frames per second. 6 times 5, carry the 3 would be 900. Yeah, so that's correct. 899 according to Davinci. I think my math is correct there. I could be wrong. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a professional. I do this because I enjoy doing it. We'll change it down to 5 seconds, and we know that should be 499 or 299. I thought it was 499, the other one. Let me do the simple math. 15. Wait a minute. It's not making sense. Go back over here and change this to 1, because we know if we change this to 1 frame per second, or change this to 1 second in length, and go back over here to Fusion, it's 6. Okay, so yeah, we changed it to 60. So my math was wrong, and on the first one my math was right. Second one my math was wrong. I was using 30, and this one is correct. It is 60 frames per second. So you have now, in a sense, you've now gone from your original, you've gone from your original timeline of 30 frames. If you go to the end, it's going to say 29. It's kind of silly. It should say 30. I don't get why it doesn't, but it's 29 to, oh my gosh, I wanted that to be 60. I can't change that. How do I change that? Well, you go in here, create a new timeline, and then you are at 60 frames per second. Pretty cool. Yes, thank you, Wintermute. I realized I screwed up my math. I know some of you out there are shocked that I made a mistake, but I make them all the time. And we'll go back to here, we'll go back to here, and why? That did, what? That didn't change? Oh, wait a minute. Did I not just change this to 5 seconds? I did. I'm on timeline number 2. I am. And then I am on, go back over to here, go to here. Oh, that's much better. I'm kind of, he's kind of jealous of our monitors. They're nice, especially if you're doing any kind of work like this. It's really nice to have monitors. One of these days I'll hook up another camera and put it behind me. I've got the big one that's getting replaced real shortly to 43 inches, downsizing from 55 to 43, because while this is nice, Mrs. K starting to miss her TV. And I've got a 40-inch to my left and two 22s, one to my left, one to my right, that I do various things. For example, right now, if I were to come in here to my OBS and change my display to this one, that's what's on my one monitor, which is Zoom, SwordSoft, and the chat box, or the participant box for Zoom. And then if I go to the other one, it'll mirror because that's where OBS is running. And then if I go to my other one, this is my monitoring, which shouldn't be mirrored, but it didn't change. That should not be mirroring, but that's interesting. And then when I go back to my original one of Davinci, it's right here. So it is nice. It is really nice. Now, the cool thing about this one is I can size things appropriately, and I'm not good at doing what Doug does with the right mouse, left mouse, and all that other stuff. It does not work for me. And then you can bring this one down, bring this one over. You can put multiple, and I do this every night. I actually bring Zoom over to here, and then I bring chat. I pop chat out of where it's at, and I drag it over to here. And then I make these guys about the same size. And this isn't Davinci, so Greg will be happy if he's still here. So this is the good thing about having a 55-inch monitor. You can put multiple things and be good to go. And restore chat, hopefully that comes back. I'm going to bring this back to what I hope is the correct size for tonight's show. If not, I will adjust accordingly, and then I'm going to make this full size. So that is that. Now the question in my mind becomes, how do you save specific timelines? Because if you go over here, you have timeline number 1, but this is under this project. I think, and I'll have to explore this a little bit more, that this could be a problem in that if it's all under this timeline, I'm going to test this in just a second. I know how you solve the solution. Let's just say I go in here and I go back over to photos and I bring in more lovely pictures of myself. So I got 14, I want 15, and I want 17. And then we close that, and then we'll just do this. And this is hastily done because it's for demonstrative purposes only. And just for grins, let's go throw an adjustment clip on here, and we'll put an adjustment clip, and we're going to put it right here. We're going to close that. Now, I always bring this down so I can see what I'm working with. You don't have to. As long as you keep the box you're working with highlighted, then you are good to do whatever you would like to do. I'm going to reduce the adjustment clip. And then go back to this one. We're going to bring this bad boy. Because another Ken Stout special error made all the time. I've got this box highlighted with the playhead over this box. I'm up here playing around with the zoom, and I'm like, what in the world? Oh, because my playhead is not there. That's why that happens. Now that the playhead is there, I can make all these changes and do what I want. And yeah, basic Ken Stout errors is what that is. Proudly admit my errors. Make them all the time. So we've done that. Let's go play with the adjustment clip. So now we're in, yeah, rookie mistake, Brian. No, amateur, Brian, amateur. I think we determined yesterday it's amateur. And since Brian Lightfoot is here, by the way, good morning, Brian. I hope you're feeling well. Let's go add several effects to this. Let's just really have some fun with this. I got a few minutes to spare. I like the binoculars, and again, you can hover over these, and it's, oh, well, put it on the adjustment clip. You can hover over these, and it's not working. I'm going to put the binoculars on there, and there's the binoculars. That's cool. So when you play this, you scroll on, and you zoom in. You can go over here to the binoculars, and I got to figure out where they're at. I think it's under Effects, Binoculars. You can change the blur. You can aberration distance. Now that's kind of cool. That gives it the night vision-y look. By the way, it's a new word, night vision-y look. You can do this. You can just get in here and play with it. You can make these as wide or, and we all remember playing with binoculars. I remember playing with binoculars and getting this look. I don't know if I ever got them to be a perfect circle or not. So now when you play this, it's going to go here to there. It doesn't really change because it's still the same picture, and then into there. So in honor of Brian Lightfoot, let's put a transition in here if we can. I'm going to bring this down here, put it right there. And you can't transition between these because it's on two different lines. If you can, I haven't figured it out yet. I'm going to bring this down like that. So now when you play this, it will play. I think this, well, no, it won't. You know what? I don't know that that will show. Oh, it did show the transition. If you look through the binoculars, it did show it. So we've got our project done. We're happy with it. Yay, it looks really good. Let us render it. I think this is how you would save this. And I'm going to put this on my desktop. People are cringing right now, and that's fine. I want to save it, and I could go ahead and put it as an MP4. I do this religiously. About the only thing I do religiously. We're going to render it, and that took about 10 seconds to render, it looks like. It'll tell you when it's done. That took a whopping 13 seconds to render out. So now if we come over here to the desktop and play it right here, ain't no doubt in my mind it's going to play. I do this pretty much all the time, and there it is, and the effect behind it. So that is that. That solves that problem. Now, because it's instructional, demonstrative purposes, I'm going to delete that. Now everybody can have a sigh of relief and be happy that it's gone. Now, if you go over here to timeline number 1 and you render it, doing the same thing, should take absolutely no time. Now it's still saying, oh, I got to add to the queue, render that out. It should be like done. Then we minimize that. We play that. It's just going to be fast and done. So that's that. You have two timelines. You render them out. You're good to go. Back to the original problem that I have in my mind. Go back to the edit page. If you go to save this, I don't know if it's going to save both timelines or not. I think it should. So we're going to save this as timeline change after setting FPS. I'm not keeping it. I just want to be able to recognize it. I'm going to save it. And that's timeline number 1. Now let's try something crazy here. Timeline number 2 is going to be the same thing, I think. I'm going to close Davinci. Uh-oh. May have made a big mistake there. Great guy will be happy. He's probably saying to himself, about time. See, great guy. What'd I tell you? As if on cue, Greg shows up about the time I close Davinci. Where are the cameras? Where are the cameras? All right, I'm going to open this back up. I'll wrap this up. Try to be close to my half hour I've allotted for my time. And we'll open this. This will be interesting. Timeline number 2. Timeline number 1. Yeah. So one's 30 frames. Thank you, Tony. One's 30 frames per second. I believe that would be this one. Maybe, maybe not. Yep, that one's 30. We go over here to timeline number 2. That's your workaround, Dennis, and anyone else that's interested in a workaround to changing the frames per second once you have changed it. Now, why is it saying 329? What did I make this time? Oh, because it's got various things in there. I don't know. Oh, maybe because it was on this, but I don't know. But we know it's 60 because if we go over here, go to change this clip duration, we know that it's 5 seconds. 5 times 60 is 300, and I think that was close to 300. I don't know. I don't remember. I just did it. Yeah, 329, close enough. So how do you get rid of the timeline if you don't want it? Let's just say you're doing a one-time project and you need to do it. It's done. You rendered it. You have it. You can do whatever you want with it. Well, you come over here to the media pool, go to timeline number 2, highlight it, make sure the red box is around it right here. Let me play with my gizmo here. See if this works. Make sure you're, oh, my gizmo didn't work. What the heck? My gizmo's not working. There we go. No, my gizmo's still not working. Interesting. Oh, well, my gizmo's not working. I was going to draw a box around this, but it won't work. Let me, oh, you know why? I was hitting the wrong thing. So make sure the red box is around this. Imagine that. Ken Stout error day. That's what this show should have been labeled. So there it is. The box is drawn around it. Bring over the sub menu. Turn that off. That'll stay, and then you can go do whatever you want. As long as it's highlighted, hit the backspace. It'll pop up, and it'll say, now I'll turn this on, just because you guys want me to play with this thing. Delete selected timeline. This will remove the timeline. Yep, so I'm going to delete it. It's gone. It's like it never happened. Now I'm going to get rid of those, get rid of that, and I believe that turns it turns it off. So that's been today's Daily Davinci. Tomorrow, as I alluded to earlier in the show at the beginning, there will not be a Daily Davinci. There will be at least one, if not back-to-back premieres. Or I may figure out how to combine the 2 recordings I've done to one premiere. Headed to Pennsylvania, picking up Josh Kinder's computer, bringing it back here. We, as a collective group on Zoom, the Zoom homies, are going to diagnose and or hopefully fix Joshy's computer. Jokingly, everyone's been saying once I do that, we need to put it in a metal box, provide it ventilation, lock the box, solder the box, put an M16 machine gun on the box in case someone tries to open it. All very good suggestions, by the way, but we know we can't do that. So I want to thank everyone for being here. Yay, no Davinci. Right on cue, Greg, right on cue. Tonight's show will be short, sweet, and to the point. I need to get a little bit of rest before we traipse off through the state of Ohio and Pennsylvania to go do Josh Kinder's. Again, I'm waiting on an email just to verify we are good to go. And I'll pick it up, be back here, get the show set up. We'll do it live. I'll bring a table in here, set up 2 cameras, maybe 3 cameras, so that I can do the fancy-dancy, let's go to camera number 1, whatever. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies, people, Long Dog, Tony Wallow, Brian Lightfoot, Alice was here, Sin Vicious was here. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm horrible with names, but I believe it is Sin Vicious. I think it's a gaming name. Old Tech Tim. Oh, Old Tech Tim. Old Tech Tim. Official Tim. Official Tim Tech is not going to be referred to moving forward as Old Tim Tech. Old Tech Tim. Old Tech Tim. I like that better. I'm going to do the Doug Betts thing and get out of here because if not, I'll be rambling for another half hour. Thank you. Good night. Have a good afternoon. I'll see you guys later. And I am playing golf at 4.